I guess kids my age have grown up with some sort of CGI animal character. For example, some might say Scooby-Doo. But for me, it was... I'm gonna be honest, I don't know why or even how I watched these movies as a kid. Because when I look at them, they can be different. So I have no idea if anyone actually wants me to do this, but we're gonna be checking out the Alvin and the Chipmunks Quadrilogy. I actually should have mentioned this on my poster video. The 4 films all have the same render. Sure, some have hats or different clothes on, but under it all, it's the same render! The first film came out in 2007, and just making that early 2000s CGI animal era, right next to Garfield. We literally opened the movie with the Chipmunks butt naked and singing. Because of course they are. I meant, of course they're singing, not, oh, forget it. We're introduced to Dave, and I really haven't seen much with Jason Lee after these movies. I wonder why. Dave works for Jet Records to pitch a new song, and the Chipmunks actually end up there as well. We're also introduced to the greatest character in all of these movies, Uncle Ian. I know he's for sure the villain, but he's still the best character here. So anyway, he brings Dave up to his office to hear his new song. It can't be that bad, right?
Yeah, to lose Tiger's venture up Mount Everest in search of...
For some strange reason, Ian hates the song and now everyone hates Dave. The Chipmunks actually hitch a ride on a muffin basket held by Dave and end up in his house. But you know what? I think Dave is handling his rejection very well. Okay, that's like $5,000 of equipment gone. Dave does find the Chipmunks though and tries to get rid of himself of their terror. Oh my goodness, they just killed him! After waking up, he does get introduced to the Chipmunks in a quite cringy way, and the only way to convince Dave is to show that they can sing, of course. And so Dave decides to let the Chipmunks stay with him because he saw the money involved. It's also ridiculous how Simon gets glasses from a Santa doll that just happen to be the right prescription. So anyway, Dave decides to show the Chipmunks to Ian, and dear goodness, these Chipmunks look so terrified. But Ian makes up for this scene by still being a legend. However, Dave actually has another job, so the Chipmunks can't screw that up, can they? They are watching SpongeBob in the background, so I'll give them that. But Theodore decides to take a dump and Simon has to eat it, so... forget it. How did these 3 not annoy me as a child? However, Dave can't be mad because his ex Claire is coming over. Surely the Chipmunks can't ruin that, right? She almost missed her mouth. I don't know why that's funny, I don't know.
Yeah, to lose Tiger's venture up Mount Everest in search of...
So Dave has to come up with every excuse possible for this. So finally he admits what's happening and... yeah, these Chipmunks are literal menaces. However, they actually run over to Ian's house so they can show him that they can sing, and literally the next day, their song is heard all over the grocery store. Like, how? How did you get it recorded and mixtaped or whatever, however the process goes? Like, how did you get all that done in like one night? But whatever, they have clothes now. We get a montage of things going great for everyone. The Chipmunks start looking at Dave like a dad, but he's not ready for that just yet. And for Christmas, he gets them, he said savings bonds? I don't... What are those? Am I just a numbskull for not knowing what those are? I genuinely don't know what these are. That's Uncle Ian! Yes! Ian wants to expand the Chipmunks because of money, but Dave wants to treat them more as kids. But when he's fed up with the Chipmunks being egotistical, they go live with Uncle Ian. However, with all this touring, the Chipmunks are now worn out, and Ian doesn't care at all.
He's in love with Dave.
So now the Chipmunks miss Dave, and thankfully Dave decides to come to their rescue. And seeing Dave, the Chipmunks decide to ruin their own show and harass the backup dancers just doing their job, but they reunite with Dave and Ian gets stuck with the cheap toys. Anyway, that's the first Alvin film. It's a decent start, it's not bad. But remember, there were 4 of these movies, so we're just getting started. What is this, a horror movie? Yes. Alvin and the Chipmunks, the Squeakquel. Yeah, right. So the Chipmunks are performing at a concert, and good gosh, what is that man's tuxedo? Good gravy, they just killed Dave again. With Dave dead, the Chipmunks have to be watched by Aunt Jackie and Shazam, and he's a gamer! Wait, no, we're about to have, what are we, like 5 minutes in? That's 2 deaths! So now it's up to Shazam, and the Chipmunks actually go to school now. Wait, no, look out! Oh, 3 deaths! Anyway, the Chipmunks are now getting all the ladies, and, they are aware these are Chipmunks, right? But, yes, he's back! Sadly, Ian is at rock bottom, but it's all about to turn around. Why are they always naked when we first see them. And so basically Ian sees the Chipettes as a way to make money again and tricks them into thinking the Chipmunks are evil. But to be honest, is he wrong on that last part?
Chipmunks who can sing.
Back at school, this one guy, Brad, something like that probably, is basically the school bully because we all need one. So after a fun little fight, the principal is actually a fan as well and proposes to them to perform in a music competition, which, how is this not cheating? So anyway, after being bullied for the first day, they ask Shazam how his first day of school was. This reaction is genuinely what every kid of the current day is going to be like from now on. Genuinely. After getting demolished in the gym, Brad, whatever his name is, offers Alvin a spot on the football team, and how is none of this cheating? Anyway, Ian learns of the Chipmunks in school. The drat render! Whatever, he sends the Chipettes to school. And from there, the Chipmunks and Ets meet in a way that can only be described as painful. Anyway, Ian decides to enter the Chipettes into the competition to rival the Chipmunks, and it's decided to let the students vote on who gets to perform. The Chipettes also begin to realize that Ian might actually be bad. I just gotta say, whatever they were paying David Cross wasn't enough. Anyway, Alvin has his football game, and how is this not cheating? Anyway, as for the vote concert, I guess we can call it, Alvin isn't there. I don't know why, but this one guy, the audience is just like... So anyway, the Chipmunks decide not to perform, so the Chipettes perform, and Ian films it to get his record's attention, even though the video would probably sound like... Anyway, the Chipmunks make up and are friends again. As for the Chipettes... Oh, come on, man. Yeah, they found out Ian's evil. But they call Alvin. Also, can someone tell me who this guy is? No one seems to know. Is this like a character from, like, Alvin and the Chipmunks way back when? Or is it from another... talking animal thing? I have no idea. Wait, yes, hit him! Hit him! Oh, that was disappointing. And to wrap up the movie, we obviously have to see a musical number. And how is none of this cheating? By the way, yep, I told you they weren't paying him enough. But if that wasn't a weird-ish enough sequel, then say hello to Chipwrecked. Will someone actually just explain to me what being trapped on an island has anything to do with Alvin and the Chipmunks? The film begins with Dave and the Chipmunks going on a cruise, and it only takes 3 minutes for Alvin to make everyone hate him. We also have this pelican who's a little... Man, I wonder what his problem is. Oh, it's Uncle Ian! This will actually be the last film with Ian because apparently the actor was treated horribly on set, and he's actually considered Chipwrecked like the worst experience in his entire career. Genuinely makes me hate this film even more because... Guys, it's Alvin. You don't need to bully anyone. It's Alvin! Within 5 minutes without Dave's supervision, Alvin has turned to a life of gambling, and the Chipettes have a dance battle with... Actually, why are these people always beefing with them? Like, they're Chipmunks, guys! Like, what do you have to prove? So the Chipmunks are obviously punished, but apparently Dave is the bad guy in this movie, and the film is about trusting Alvin. That is, like, the silliest character arc, by the way. Like, that's just... Anyway, with the Chipmunks being the worst creatures on Earth, they fly off on a hang glider, but to be honest, will anyone even miss them? The Chipmunks do wash up on shore, though, and now this film is like Castaway, but with chipmunks, and nowhere near as good. Dave does go after them, with Ian as company washing up on the same island. Generally, the only good parts of this movie are with Ian. As for the Chipmunks, I really wouldn't care if anything bad happened to them. The next day, the Chipmunks run into this random girl who was a pilot here and got washed up here a decade ago. She also talks to balls with faces on them. I swear, if they say she was for FedEx, I'm gonna freak out. Simon actually gets bit by a spider, and instead of killing him, it turns him into... Simone? Because it was a toxin that infected his personality. I hate this movie. Hey, let's just be glad Ian's here to bring me out of my misery and make this movie a little more watchable. Anyway, Alvin is now thinking Dave doesn't love him because he doesn't, and this girl's apparently revealed to be looking here for treasure and came to the island on purpose. It's also at the point where Ian begins to be understanding of Dave, which would be out of character, but this man's been starving, so his brain's probably near gone to insanity. They do eventually reunite just in time for the volcano to erupt. It's a little intense if you ask me. And it only takes to be hit in the head by a golf ball for Simon to be back to his old self again. The thing is, almost everyone has character arcs in some way. And the Chipmunks and Dave's arcs are actually not that important. They're probably gonna get reset by the next movie, so what does it matter? Ian has a character arc. This man needs food. Even the girl has a character arc and is basically just forgiven for nearly killing everyone, so I just need to know why this was the idea for the third movie. I mean, I get wanting to be different, but why was this the choice? Critically, this film is the worst in the series because it is. So now it's time for the final film. Let's just do this already. Alvin and the Chipmunks, The Road Chip. I swear the writers just jotted down every single chipmunk pun they could think of, picked whichever ones were the best, and then just figured out the plot from there. Road Trip was actually the first Alvin film I ever watched, actually, and I genuinely find this film not bad. It definitely has its cringy moments, like that opening credits party, the dance break was very cringy. Also, the Chipettes are hardly in this film because they're judges for American Idol. Also, the Chipmunks are just unknown in this film, which is crazy. They were huge singers and now they just fell off hard, I guess. I should also mention this film, and the first film actually, mentioned Diddy, and that makes me very uncomfortable. In this film, Dave is dating a doctor, and her son is the new Chad Brad ad named Miles. It's discovered Dave has an engagement ring, and the Chipmunks fear he's going to ask the doctor to marry him while on vacation in Miami, making Miles their brother. So the four team up to stop them. They first go to the airport and need to make it past security. Anyway, the plane takes off and the Chipmunks can't go 5 seconds without causing trouble. So the Chipmunks and Miles meet Suggs, who's basically the villain of this movie. Look, this man is no Uncle Ian, but he's a fair replacement. Tony Hale does a good job. This character hates the Chipmunks because his girlfriend dumped him for being a fan. Alright then, fine. So now he basically chases the Chipmunks throughout the movie. But anyway, without money for a new plane ticket, the group makes their way to Miami by obviously making money doing musical sequences, which... not bad, actually. It gives them a reason to sing. Eventually, they crash New Orleans, and Dave finds out where we probably get one of the best Alvin moments in this quadrilogy. Anyway, Dave and the doctor pick them up, and we find out the Chipmunks are on the no-fly list, which doesn't that legally make them terrorists? They arrive in Miami and sabotage the engagement, but the Chipmunks and Miles realize they actually like each other, so they decide to fix things, but Suggs arrives, and this is just ridiculous. That's the worst hiding spot ever. Whatever, they trap him in an elevator. They make it to bring the ring back, but we find out it's not Dave's ring, it was for his friend to propose to his girlfriend. So with Dave ready to kick the Chipmunks back on the street, they get the Chipettes and perform a song for him while fixing the proposal. I should also say that in the ending, Dave legally adopts the Chipmunks as his, like, I guess, children, which didn't he technically adopt them in the oh, forget this. One thing that makes me mad, though, is that Eleanor was voiced by Amy Poehler in the second and third film, but in this film, for some reason, was recast to being voiced by Kaylee Cuoco. And Eleanor probably has, like, 5 lines max in this film, if not less. And yet, Kaylee Cuoco won a Razzie for this film. Like, how? Why? I know these films aren't the best ever, but why is she getting the Razzie? Again, she barely had any lines in this movie. What was the competition? Just not that much competition in 2016? Was that genuinely, like, the worst actress performance in that entire year? I may forever be baffled by how I found the Alvin and the Chipmunks Quadrilogy watchable when I was a kid. And I guess I don't really know what else to say other than... Thank you guys so much for watching. Click this video right here. YouTube thinks you like this one the best. Make sure to like and subscribe. See you guys.